Hello and welcome to this video where I'm kind of responding to the comments from my top rankings video where people were, how do I word this? I have Impact above Broken Blade. A lot of people think that that's out of line, and I think that it's arguable both ways. And I looked back at the games they played against each other in the LCS. They played against each other 18 times between 2019 and 2020. Both teams were playoff teams throughout that time, so the team gap, there is a slight one all the time, obviously, but both teams were good. It's not like neither one were bad at the time or whatever. And Impact came out ahead 11-7. Now, obviously, that's a team stat, and you break that down even more, and you see it's 6-2 during the split and 5-5 in the playoffs. So when push came to shove in the playoffs, they split 50-50, which I would say is more telling than the regular season record. However, then I go down and I say solo kills. Well, Impact had 2, Broken Blade had 1 in 18 games. Now, you may say, well, you're missing this time or this time. And it's like, maybe I am. Reason being, I only am counting what happened during the 15 minutes of each game during what I would call the laning phase. They're alone. They're on an island. And I do include in here ganked, successful ganks, both players were ganked successfully 6 times each. It does not include failed ganks. It does not include pressure and being forced off your turret. Simply successful ganks where the person ended up dying. Now, with that, you have to take that into account. So, there are a lot of times where players would end up behind in CS because they were ganked. You're going to lose lane then. And in my opinion, when it comes to losing lane, Broken Blade won lane 7 times, Impact won lane 4 times, and then the other 7 games, the CS difference was under 5. So that was pretty much a toss-up to me. That's all dependent on wave management in that, okay, you just recalled or whatever. Someone has a slight edge, a couple CS, it's irrelevant. I will say that I feel like a lot of this, why Impact has 11 wins compared to Broken Blade 7 is Impact's champion pool. I feel like his champion pool is less split lane or carry oriented champions. It's more tank and team, based champions. And I feel like a lot of people would feel that way. Impact would probably play a tank more so than Broken Blade. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at when I had Impact above Broken Blade. Because you see champion pool, and obviously you probably can't read that because my handwriting sucks. But, like, in their matchups, Impact would play Kennen 4 times, Ornn 4 times, Gangplank twice, Vladimir twice, Set twice. All these champions that are engaged champions that are jumping into the fight. Maybe Kennen not so much. Kennen's not engaged, more ultimate oriented. He's gonna alt, and that's where all his damage comes from. But Ornn 4 times. Ornn's a big player, especially right now. Set, his engages, big deal. Being able to set up plays. Even the Shen, making things happen around the rift. Gangplank twice, making things happen around the rift. Yorick, is kind of like a fringe weird pick that happened in 2019. And even Broken Blade has a Cal pick, so that's like a wash to me that they played weird champions that are kind of irrelevant. But Impact doesn't play the same kind of champions as Broken Blade does. And maybe that's why people would say, oh, Broken Blade's better, because he does play these champions and he can carry and do that. Well, he can, but in the end game or the mid to late game when you're team fighting and you're not necessarily 1v1ing in the side lane anymore, and Ornn becomes very impactful. A Set becomes impactful. Kennen and Ultimates around Drake becomes impactful. These champions are not squishy. Set is not squishy. Where you look at Broken Blade, his most common is Aurelia and Akali. Well, we know Aurelia is his champion. That's his bread and butter, as is Riven. But Riven is not listed here. But Aurelia is a champion that Broken Blade really likes to play. Now, that is not at all like an Ornn or a Kennen. Obviously, an Aurelia needs a little bit of help to get online. That's not a weak side champion. He is not. Broken Blade, at least in these games against Impact, is not weak side. Maybe he has weak side in some, but a lot of times he's expected to not be weak side. Akali 3 times. He would play the Vladimir twice, Gangplank twice, just like Impact. But you also have things in here like the Jax. Side lane oriented. Jax is all for himself. Silas. Interesting pick. Impact played a little bit of Silas in the past too. But Broken Blade pulled out the Silas against him. Aatrox. I mean, in the same realm as Impact and Engage tank that Impact would also play. Set. Renekton, Volibear, Jace. Jace was standing, but Volibear, Renekton, Set, and obviously Aatrox, like I just said. Those are all tanks, so those are all within the wheelhouse, but there's no Ornn listed there, and we do know that Broken Blade just started playing Ornn, and we've heard on various streams that BB kind of sucked at Ornn with TSM, but now that he's with G2, his Ornn is much better, and obviously really good in the games that he played it in the LEC playoffs. I'm not going to take that away from him. Maybe it's good now and he's willing to play it against Impact in a matchup. But as of right now, at least in years past, that was not the case. Maybe Broken Blade plays a wider range of champions now that can do more things for the team. I feel like in this tournament, though, they're going to put bot side on weak side and try and not let them die and give Broken Blade and Caps more proximity and a better chance to carry, which is going to make Impact look bad. I mean, if Impact has to lose gracefully, which is a trait that you need to have as a top laner. If you're playing an Ornn and you're being ganked, well, don't die. Or you're playing Gragas, don't die. And stay within reason of CS. There were some games Broken Blade had like a 30 CS lead that I looked at in these 18 games. That is stomping lane through 15 minutes. I think there was one time Impact was ahead by that much. Now, obviously, Impact is more of a team-oriented player. I keep saying it. But he will go into other lanes. One of the Gangplank games, he had 4 assists. Obviously, he's using his ultimate to gain advantages in other lanes. The Shen is clearly something for other lanes, which is fringe pick right now. Bwipo's picked it a couple times. Maybe Shen becomes a thing during MSI. That would be interesting. But, I thought this would be interesting to look at. Obviously, people are going to say this happened 100 years ago, so it doesn't matter. And sure. I'm not going to deny that it lacks a little bit of relevance because it happened so long ago. But it is interesting to look at how did these players fare against each other, given they're so close, at least in my opinion, based on, going into this tournament, like in ranking, like I keep saying. I feel like Broken Blade at his highest is better than Impact. When he's on an Aurelia and he's cruising, an Akali, things like that. Like when he's on a champion where this past split, excuse me, Action. Played Action a lot, more than anyone else. And, excuse me, that is a Broken Blade type of pick. You are not going to see Impact picking Action. And if you do, I feel like he is making a mistake. You're not going to see him do that. You might see him pick Ornn, or he might pick Mordekaiser. I don't have Mordekaiser listed here. Why don't I? I don't have Kale. I do have Kale. Impact did play Mordekaiser. I don't know why I don't have it listed. Mordekaiser is becoming part of the meta again. Impact might play Mordekaiser. That's the type of champion Impact plays. That's the sort of they're two different players. So to say outright one is way better than the other would be, I feel like, a disservice to the other. It's kind of like saying, well, Summit was really, really good in the LCS, but once everyone figured out you can't play against a tank, and now you can't play a tank versus tank matchup, you become useless, you lose in playoffs, well, that says something about the player. Your highs can be really high, but obviously your lows are low. You are getting stomped in lane when you are losing, when you get a matchup that you can't win. And I feel like you have to, look at it this way, and that can, if Impact can get through lane and not die, as he did in these 18 games, he did often, didn't die, got through lane in relatively good shape and has a champion that can be more relevant in the mid to late game than Broken Blade, Impact has a better chance to win the game. And in the end, that's more important than anything else. So Comment down below if you have any opinions of your own on this, if you thought this was interesting. Obviously, people are going to say there are some stats that were key stats that were left out. Maybe there are things that are relevant after 15 minutes. People, I mean, Drakes are a thing. Obviously, this is all within a vacuum. Drakes are a thing. Like I said, failed ganks are a thing. Pressure, roams, stuff like that. Like, obviously, those are factors that aren't included on this board. So, thank you for watching this video. If you like League of Legends content, subscribe to the channel. I do daily content. I've been doing MSI preview for the last week and a half, and it's only going to continue until MSI begins. So thank you for watching.